Most of the time, people who try to learn crochet give up in the first week, and it's not because their hands aren't good enough, and it's not because crochet is too hard. It's because they learned everything in the wrong order. They watch one video that teaches a fancy stitch, then they watch another video that jumps straight into a blanket pattern, and by the third video they're so lost they just put the hook down and never pick it back up. If that sounds like you, or if you haven't even started yet and you don't want to end up like that, stick around because today I'm going to walk you through the exact order you should learn crochet in, step by step, so you don't waste weeks being confused and frustrated. This is the order I wish someone had shown me when I first picked up a hook. No skipping around, no guessing, just the real path from knowing nothing to actually making something you're proud of. So, let's get into it. The first mistake almost every beginner makes happens before they even pick up the yarn. They go to the store and buy whatever hook and whatever yarn looks pretty. Then they get home, try to follow a tutorial, and nothing looks right. The stitches are too tight, the yarn splits every time the hook goes through it, and they think something is wrong with them. Nothing is wrong with you. Something is wrong with your supplies. So step one before you learn a single stitch is getting the right tools. For your very first time holding a hook, you want a medium-sized hook, something like a 5mm, and you want smooth, light-colored yarn, not fuzzy, not dark, not a thin thread. Fuzzy yarn hides your stitches so you can't see what you're doing, and dark yarn makes it hard to see where your hook needs to go. A lot of beginners grab a soft, fluffy yarn because it feels nice, but that fluffy yarn is going to fight you every row. Save that yarn for later, once you know what you're doing. For now, plain and light-colored is your best friend. Once you have the right hook and yarn, the next step is just learning how to hold everything. This sounds too simple to matter, but it's actually where a lot of people get stuck without realizing it. There's no one correct way to hold a hook. There are a few different grips, and you just need to find the one that feels natural in your hand. Same with the yarn. You need to find a way to let it run through your fingers so it has just enough tension, not too loose and not choking it. This might feel awkward for the first 10 minutes. That's normal. Everyone feels like they have too many fingers when they start. Give it a little time before moving on. Now, here's where the real learning begins, and this next part is the single most important thing in this whole video. You do not start with a pattern. You do not start with a project. You start with one basic movement, and you repeat it until your hands understand it without your brain having to think about every single step. That first movement is the chain stitch. This is literally just making a row of loops connected to each other, like a little chain, which is exactly what it's called. It looks simple, and it is simple, but here's the thing nobody tells beginners. You shouldn't just make one chain and move on. You should make a long chain, then pull it out and make it again, and again. Do this maybe 5 or 10 times in one sitting. I know that sounds boring, and I know you probably want to jump straight into making something, but this is the step that builds the muscle memory in your hands so that every stitch after this becomes 10 times easier. Skipping this step is exactly why so many people quit later, because their hands never got comfortable with the basic motion, and every stitch after that feels like starting from zero every time. Once your chain stitch feels easy, and I mean actually easy, not just doable, you move to the next stitch, which is the single crochet. This is the stitch almost everything else is built on. You'll make a chain, and then you'll work single crochet stitches into that chain, row after row. This is where you start to see actual fabric forming for the first time, and that's a really exciting moment, because up until now, it just looked like string. Now it starts looking like something you could actually use. While you're practicing single crochet, this is also when you learn something small but important, which is the turning chain. Every time you finish a row and need to turn your work around to start the next row, you add one small chain first. This is one of those tiny details that patterns just assume you already know, and if nobody tells you, you'll be confused for way longer than you need to be. After single crochet feels comfortable, you move on to 2 more basic stitches, the half double crochet and the double crochet. These are taller stitches, and they work up faster than single crochet, which feels satisfying once you're used to the slower single crochet. Learning these in this order matters because each one builds slightly on the last. Single crochet teaches you the basic hook motion, half double adds one more small step, double crochet adds a bit more height and a slightly different rhythm. If you tried to learn double crochet first before your hands understood single crochet, you'd be learning too many new things at once, and that's when people get overwhelmed and give up. Somewhere around this point, you also want to learn how to count your stitches at the end of a row. This is the part people skip, and it comes back to bite them later. If you don't count your stitches, you slowly gain extra ones or lose some without noticing, and then your project starts looking wonky on one side, wider at the top than the bottom, or with weird bumps along the edge. Counting takes an extra 30 seconds per row, and it saves you from hours of confusion later when you can't figure out why your square isn't actually square. Once you've got these basic stitches down and you're comfortable counting, now is the time to learn increasing and decreasing. This just means adding stitches or removing stitches to shape your work. Up until now, everything you've made has probably been a flat rectangle. Increasing and decreasing is what lets you start making shapes, like the rounded top of a hat, or the shaping of a stuffed animal, or the curve of a sleeve. This is also a good time to learn how to read a basic pattern, because patterns use short letters instead of full words, things like SC for single crochet or DC for double crochet. And if nobody explains that to you first, a pattern just looks like a wall of confusing letters. Once someone shows you the short list of common abbreviations, patterns suddenly go from looking like a foreign language to being something you can actually follow. Now, here comes the moment a lot of people wait too long for, and it's picking your very first real project. This is important. Your first project should be small and forgiving. Not a blanket, not a sweater, a dishcloth, or a coaster, or a small square, something you can finish in one sitting or maybe two. The reason this matters so much is finishing something, even something tiny, is what makes your brain believe you can actually do this. If your first project is a giant blanket, you'll be working on it for weeks before you see it finished, and a lot of people lose motivation somewhere in the middle and never pick it back up. But finishing a small square in an evening, holding it in your hands and seeing that you actually made a piece of fabric out of string, that feeling is what keeps people coming back to crochet for years. After you've made a couple of small flat projects, that's when you move on to working in the round, which is how you make things like hats, bowls, and stuffed animals. Since those aren't flat squares, they're worked in a spiral or in joined rounds instead of back and forth rows. This is a slightly different rhythm than working in rows, so it makes sense to learn it after you're already comfortable with the basics, not before. And the very last piece of the puzzle, which people almost always forget about, is finishing. Weaving in your loose ends properly so they don't come undone, and blocking your finished piece, which just means shaping it and letting it dry so it lays flat instead of curling at the edges. A lot of beginners make something, don't finish it properly, and then wonder why it looks messy compared to what they saw online. The projects you see that look clean and polished, that's not just good stitching, that's also good finishing. That's it. That's the whole path. It's not complicated, it just needs to happen in the right order because every step is building the hand skill and the confidence you need for the next one. Most people fail at crochet not because they don't have the patience for it, but because they tried to run before they learned to walk, jumping into patterns and projects that needed skills they hadn't built yet. If you take nothing else from this video, remember that the boring practice part, the chains you make just to pull apart again, the plain rows of single crochet that don't look like anything